Hey everybody, it's Johanna here. It is Sunday, the 15th of January, and yes, I still have Christmas decorations in the background, so I'm working on putting those away still. And it's exciting because it's the final week of Capricorn season, and we don't even actually get a full week of Capricorn before the sun moves into Aquarius. So we are halfway through these two Saturn ruled seasons, which means that things are going to start moving towards getting a little bit brighter, right? Because Saturn season means that it's the darkest time of the year. It's when the winter solstice happens. And it's so that's in the northern hemisphere when there's the least amount of daylight. So it's cold, it's dark. So all of those Saturn themes we're right in the middle of, right? We finished the first half, so we got through Capricorn season. Everything felt a little bit like initiatory, which is a cardinal sign keyword, where we felt like starting something new. Like that's the new year that happens during Capricorn season. Everyone starts getting motivated. That sort of desire to grow and build, but also have some structure behind it because it's a Saturn ruled sign of Capricorn. So we're switching from the cardinal Capricorn sign into the fixed Aquarius sign. Now both of them are ruled by Saturn, but they have two very different expressions of Saturn because we have a cardinal Earth sign, which is Capricorn, and we're moving into a fixed air sign, which is Aquarius. So modern astrologers have assigned the planet the planet Uranus with Aquarius as well as Saturn. Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius since the origination of Western astrology. Saturn was always the ruler of Aquarius, but in modern times they've added Uranus as the co-ruler of Aquarius. So those two planets are really different. Saturn and Aquarius are almost polar opposites in their desires, wants, needs, energies. Saturn is traditional, wants structure, wants things to have limitations and boundaries, and somewhat conservative because it's trying to, keep things safe and secure and wanting to, keep things full of structure, and you can't build on a good foundation if it's unstable or erratic or eccentric, which is all those are all Uranus keywords. So Aquarius is associated with Uranus because it does have that kind of like unpredictable eccentric quality to it, because Uranus is the planet of like chaos, but also genius. So since Aquarius is a air sign, it rules thinking and ideas and communication, but it's like kind of a fixed quality to it. So if you know what any Aquariuses, they usually kind of like get fixated on an idea and sort of like a scope of ideas, or like a theory or a way of thinking, or sort of like an idea set, like a belief system that they really really hold on to, and they want to they never really stray from it unless they want to innovate it or like build upon it, just the way Uranus and Saturn kind of do together. So Aquarius is kind of a struggle, I think, because the people who are Aquariuses can kind of feel that struggle between wanting things to be structured and traditional and having a very fixed way of thinking about something, which definitely is associated with that Saturnian quality. And also, like, always wanting to look forward into the future and see what's going to happen and what's going to be innovative and what's the big vision for the future. And that's all Uranus qualities. So it's an exciting time of year when we have this shift from one sort of traditional or more grounded Saturnian energy of Capricorn into sort of a more um innovative or like wild card energy of Aquarius, but also remembering that Saturn's still with us, it's still present, it's that cold, dark, slow quality. Even though Capricorn is a cardinal sign, it's initiatory, but it's also taking its time to make sure things work out correctly. So we are kind of in this transitionary period between one Saturn sign to another Saturn sign, and we're nearing the height, the midpoint of the winter, because all the fixed signs always rule that middle part of the season, when it's the hottest, when it's the coldest, when it's the rainiest in the spring, when it's the um, most beautiful part of the fall. All of those midpoints of these seasons are fixed signs. So we're coming into the middle of winter, and if you're in New Mexico, I'm in the mountains outside of Albuquerque. It's like blizzarding up here, so we're getting that sort of like cold rush of Saturn type energy. We're going to be moving into the harshest part of the winter when all the snowstorms start hitting. All of that is going to be coming up. Um, at least in the northern hemisphere. So that's kind of the big shift that's happening this week as we're moving from Capricorn into Aquarius season. But also, I mean, I know everyone's like, "What about Mercury retrograde?" Right? Because it's like crazy. It's just mind blowing to just to see how everybody's commenting on Mercury retrograde. Like everyone from celebrities to people at my work or people at my daughter's preschool, it's stuff like that. Like it's so in people's consciousness about what Mercury retrograde or what Mercury retrograde is. Um, that you don't even have to be an astrologer. You don't even have to know anything about astrology to know that when Mercury is retrograde and what it means. So, yeah, of course, everyone's like, Mercury retrograde's ending this week. That means things are going to go back to normal. And I know I talked a lot about Mars retrograde last week, which I felt was the bigger deal, right? It's when Mars has come out of a retrograde, which was I think 10 weeks long. I forget, but it's been there since October. Mercury's only been retrograde for the past 3 weeks. It's a quicker, shorter transit. But yeah, it's more popular. It's more well known than Mars. So all the planets go retrograde. So Mercury's the shortest. Then there's Venus. Then there's Mars as far as the length of the retrogrades, and they just keep going out and out till you get to Pluto, which retrogrades for months and months at a time. So we are, yes, coming to the end of Mercury retrograde. So yay, everyone who's a Virgo or a Gemini. Even like this is why I feel like the Mars retrograde was such a big deal on top of this Mercury retrograde. Wow, it's like really like I don't know if you can hear the wind like blowing. It's like really really getting pelted with snow up here. So, we have Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, and Mars was in the sign of Gemini, or still is in the sign of Gemini. So when it was retrograding, both Mercury and Mars are retrograding. The Geminis are just getting a double whammy of that energy because it was a Mars rule. So Mars is in that sign of Gemini, which means that any planet in a sign is going to be looking to the ruler of that sign and to see what they're doing. Are they happy? Are they retrograde? So since Mercury was also retrograde when Mars was retrograde the past few weeks, those Geminis, those poor Geminis, were just getting that double whammy of like, I can't get anything done. I'm so frustrated. I keep having like mishaps. I live with two Geminis. My daughter is 16. She just got her first car. It took us literally like 3 weeks, the whole retrograde basically time to get that car on the road, to get it registered, to get it all the things that were wrong with it fixed. And every time we did something, something else would come up. Or, oh, I locked my keys in the car or something. So it was just classic Mercury retrograde. So if you have Geminis that you live with, or wherever Gemini is in your chart, if you have planets in Gemini, that's kind of the area that was being affected by both of these retrogrades, even though this Mercury retrograde is in Capricorn. So, Capricorn chart, wherever Capricorn is in your chart, that's very active this week or has been active for the retrograde. But also, Gemini is kind of the big focus area with both of these retrogrades. So, that's the end. We're ending this retrograde. We ended Mars last week. This week, we have Mercury stationing direct on Wednesday, I think it is. So, yeah, that Wednesday the 18th. And there's also a Sun conjunct Pluto, or a Sun Cazimi Pluto that day. So it's going to be kind of an interesting day. I think it's going to be the big day of the week as far as events. We also have a new moon coming up this week. So as soon as the sun goes into Aquarius, the moon's going to be it's going to be coming up to the moon and conjuncting it. So when the sun and the moon are at the same degree of the zodiac, that means there is a new moon or a lunation happening, and that's going to be happening on Saturday. So that's exciting. We're having a lot of things shifting this week, starting of new cycles. The retrograde cycles sort of like end one aspect of that planetary cycle and start a new forward motion. So we're both moving forward with Mars and Mercury. So that means activities or things you were motivated to do. Mars is action oriented, so taking action on something that you've been waiting to, or like if you've been trying to take action for the past 9-10 weeks on something and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, now you can finally feel like it is. And especially with Mercury coming out of retrograde too, you're going to feel that extra level of like, okay, maybe I can finally like get my point across to somebody who I've been trying to communicate with and they just haven't been hearing me. or something, shows up in the mail that has been trying to get to you for the past few weeks. So you're like, well, finally the package was delivered, or okay, now I can actually send what I want to send the person. So it's kind of that freeing up of energy, the freeing up of forward motion happening this week. And it's very nice, right? We're very excited that things are going to start moving forward. So, because it's kind of been a rough beginning to the 2023 with both of those planets retrograde, and we get to finally feel like maybe the new year's really starting finally, and so yeah, we have gone through all the Saturn. We're still in the Saturn energy. Saturn is deals with rigidity, and since this is going to be moving into Aquarius, that rigidity of thinking is going to be happening. And we do have a lot of Capricorn last hurrahs this week because not only is the Sun moving out of Capricorn, but Pluto is still hanging there, still there. Remember what's always going to be at the end of Capricorn? Right now, Pluto's at I think 26 or 27, maybe 28. It's getting really close to the end of Capricorn. 28 degrees. It's like, oh my God, two degrees away. 1 degree away of Capricorn, and then 2 degrees before it's into Aquarius. So we get to have that preview this year. That's something special about 2023. We get the preview of Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to be a huge shift, right? We can talk about that later though. So Capricorn, last hurrahs this week. Sun is going to have its last hurrah. Pluto is going to have its little conversation with the planets of Capricorn, and we have that Mercury at the very end of Capricorn. No, not at the very end, but we also have Mercury in Capricorn. So the energy of Capricorn is very prevalent this week with the Mercury coming out of retrograde, the Sun making a conjunction with Pluto, and then finally moving into Aquarius. So we will get that last hurrah of Capricorn energy this week. So if you've been feeling like, okay, I need to finally do something, I got to take action on something, now you have the opportunity to do that without any of the retrogrades. So if you really want to harness that last little bit of Capricorn energy, do so between now and Wednesday. So yeah, I would recommend doing any sort of project you're hoping you can complete, right? Because we're not in the waxing moon phase, we're in the waning moon phase, very very close dark moon phase before it's new again. So completing things. So if you have been waiting for that oomph, that final push to get something done, do it this week because we don't want to start anything new until the new moon is past its initial lunation phase into where it's visible in the sky again. So that's not going to happen until next week. So yeah, things are going to come to completion this week. Things are going to be moving into a new sign. Saturn is still very, very active as far as the ruler of all of these energies. All of these planets keep looking towards Saturn. And Saturn is still in Aquarius, so still very strong in its own sign, very kind of like directing everybody else at this moment because we have so many planets looking towards Saturn because we have planets in Aquarius, which Venus is in Aquarius right now. And then, of course, we have all of these planets in Capricorn. And yeah, so the moon is also going to be in Aquarius, right? When it's going to have its new moon lunation on Saturday. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Aquarius or Capricorn. So 5 planets looking up to Saturn for help, looking to Saturn for direction, looking to Saturn for any sort of permission for what it wants to do. And if Saturn's not in a good mood, then they're not going to be able to do what they want. So Saturn is in its happy sign of Aquarius, very strong. You may feel like you need to do all your double checks, making sure that the rules are being followed. I mean, I know we're going to all start doing taxes pretty soon, so just make sure you're doing things correctly. Even if you feel motivated, like, okay, I got to get things done, don't rush through it because that Saturnian energy doesn't want you to rush. It wants you to do it right the first time. So, no rushing, even though things may feel like a little bit like, oh, I gotta go. Remember that Saturn's still the boss here. So Saturn wants things to just be done correctly the first time. So take it slow, take it easy, and do things in an orderly fashion. Right? So until Aquarius season starts, and then things can get a little more wild. But so yeah, we have Mercury ending, new moon on Saturday, which is at I think oh yeah, it's right there at the very beginning. So 1 degree of Aquarius. So wherever you have 1 degree Aquarius in your chart, that's where this new moon is happening for you. The new moon takes place at 1:53 p.m. on Saturday the 21st Mountain Time. So adjust for your time zone. And we will be having a new moon circle this next week. So next Sunday we'll be having a new moon circle. I always do a free new moon circle online every single month for anyone who wants to learn more about astrology, anyone who wants to learn more about the new moon, what it means, what lunations mean. I also look at the Sabian symbols sometimes. Um, and the people in my orbit membership get to ask questions about their chart personally. So if you are part of the membership and you're watching this as far as the replay goes, inside the membership area, start thinking about questions that you have about your chart, because I want you to be looking at that area, whatever house that this is in. And if you don't, if you're one of the people who don't know their birth time, that's fine. We can still work with the energy similarly, because we will be looking at all the planets in your chart and see how they interact with each other and how this new moon is interacting with the planets. So, um, there will be a link to register for this new moon circle. If you're not part of the Orbit membership, you can still show up. You can still listen to all of the questions. You can hear about the archetypes of Aquarius and what the new moon means. I will put the link in the Facebook group, the Resonant Essentials Facebook group, and in my own personal Facebook group. So make sure that you register to be signed up and to be notified of when get the Zoom link and all of that stuff. So, well, the other exciting thing that's happening this week on Saturday the 21st is our astrology group here in Albuquerque is going to be hosting a guest speaker, Lindsay Turner. They are a astrologer and pastor from Santa Fe. They're coming down to Albuquerque and they're going to be doing a presentation on planetary scheduling. So I am very excited for this because I love my wandering star planner and I like look at it all the time. And I'm always like writing observations down and planning things out based off the lunations and whatever transits are happening. So if you're in Albuquerque, please register. I will also put the link in the Resonant Essentials page. Maybe I'll put it below this video as well. So, yes, definitely register. It's $15 for members, $25 for non-members, and it's going to be a 90-minute presentation, and it's going to be very interactive. So it's very practical, and I mean, who doesn't want to use astrology like as a practical tool in their everyday life, not just like a book they're reading or like, oh, in theory this could happen. No, actually, you get to put it to good use, put your stuff to good use, which is very Capricorn, right? So yeah, that's going to be happening on Saturday the 21st. And for those of you who are not in Albuquerque, I hope to be writing down some nuggets of information that I will be getting from the presentation that I can share with you later. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I can do the moons and some other alignments. We have a Scorpio moon tonight, so if you're watching any true crime series, that's a very Scorpio moon type thing to do. My daughter has a Scorpio moon. She loves horror movies. So if you want to embrace your Scorpio, do some like, dark and spooky things or crime stuff. Don't go out and commit crimes. That's not what I'm saying. Like watch the documentaries or whatever. And then we have the moon going into Sagittarius on Tuesday the 17th. And it will be crossing the galactic center. Oh no. Forgot to turn off notifications. So it's going to be crossing the galactic center on early Wednesday, the 18th. So, oh no, about 6:15 on Tuesday, the 17th. So, if you're part of the membership, then check out all the suggested astro flow activities you can do for when the moon crosses the galactic center. It's also a really good day to meditate, a good day to ask your guides or your connection to spirit for any sort of messages or any sort of words of wisdom, because I mean the galactic center is the center of our galaxy, right? It's where things ended and where things started. It's like what we're all moving around, right? The center of life. So we also have the moon going into Capricorn on Thursday the 19th to get ready for the new moon. Then it moves into Aquarius on the 21st, which is Saturday at 11:28 a.m. So really close to when it goes to its lunation, just because it's at that first degree of Aquarius. So, any big other things that are happening? The Cazimi, which is interesting because we don't actually. The difference between a combustion and a Cazimi, combust means a planet that's within 5 to 10, I think 5 to 15 degrees of the sun, meaning that you can't see it, because if anything, any planet is that close to the sun's path, it's going to be burnt out exactly. Like the light is going to be so bright from the sun, you're not going to be able to see the planet, which is called combust. Um, However, if you're talking about the outer planets like Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, you can't see those planets anyway. So they technically can't be combust, right? Because they're not visible. So they're not being blocked out by the sun, or they're already being blocked out. Like that's the logic I think behind it. But the concept of Cassini, which of course was also developed before they discovered outer planets, but if you want to apply this the technique to the outer planets like Pluto, which is what's happening on Wednesday, um, the 18th, yeah, Wednesday the 18th, there's going to be a Pluto Sun conjunction, so a Pluto Cazimi, and that can be something very powerful as far as feeling your own sense of empowerment. And I, sorry, my phone's going off now. So that can be something very powerful. So that's why I said Wednesday the 18th is going to be the biggest day of the week, just because that Cazimi happens and then Mercury goes direct. So that's really the big transits of the week. We also have some stuff happening next Sunday, but I will talk about it then when I see you guys next week. So hope you have a wonderful week and I will talk to you then. Bye.